Morning guys, how are you all today? So it is the fabulous Monday morning. Everyone loves a Monday morning, do they not? I do anyway. It's always good to get back into the working week. And I have got my new setup tour, my room tour, tour of a geek's room, tour of a geek's desk, whatever you want to call it. It is up on my main channel, so I'm going to leave a link to that down in the video description. But I would really appreciate it if all of you guys could go over there and just whack that like button quickly. If you're not going to watch it, just hit the like button, because it really does help me out, and this is such an important video for me that it would be great if I could get it further up the rankings, which is what hitting that like button does. So please just go over there, whack the like button for me, and that will really help me out. I really appreciate that. And I did it actually a little bit differently as well, very differently this time, because normally when you do a room tour, you know, you grab a camcorder or whatever you might use, and you just go around and you take the video and you talk as you go, sort of thing, and it's all handheld. Now what I did yesterday was a bit more of a kind of cinematic approach. So I actually used the tripod, the slider, you know, the monopod, all that kind of stuff. Did pans, zooms, pulled focus, all of that sort of thing. And then I did a voiceover. And the reason for that is I think that it will make it more watchable, because it's a longer video, and I think sort of 20 odd minutes of shaking hand and moving around all over the place and not focusing on a particular object for a very long period of time is not that great. So I'm hoping that this sort of style, and also with the superior audio quality as well, will make it more watchable, and people will watch it for a longer period of time. So let me know what you think of that anyway. And obviously as well, it's all in 4K. To handhold a DSLR and manually focus on absolutely everything whilst you're doing it would just be too much of a nightmare. You'd never be able to do it. So, well, you could do it, but it'd be horrendous. So the way that I did it, I think actually came out really nice. I'm really pleased with it. There was a couple of little bits that I did rush a bit, because I knew I wouldn't have time other than last night. But other than that, I'm pretty goddamn happy with it. And there was a bit as well where I actually had to film the 1DC, and I said this yesterday. So I used the Galaxy Note 3 in the 4K mode, and a lot of you guys said, well, you've got two 1DCs, why didn't you use the other one? And I remember now, because I obviously said to you guys at the time, I'm starting this new company, that's why I've got the extra 1DC, etc. And I never told you the reason why. So now I'm going to tell you. And the reason that I bought that second 1DC is because I'm actually doing this thing at the moment where I'm hiring it out. So I came across this requirement for people to rent the 1DC in particular. It was actually a very specific group of people, and so I came up with an agreement with them on a rental, and I went out and bought the camera. So that camera is out on rental, and in fact it will be back with me in a few months, and then I will actually be renting it out to just everyday people, other than the people that I agreed the initial contract with. So that was that little business there, that I just started a camera hire company just on a whim, but it's worked out quite well. But that was the real reason why I couldn't use the second 1DC, just to answer that question. And in addition to that as well, I know that the little coffee table that I've got, the iMac G4 mirror, G4 clock, and the iMac G5 mirror that I've got, I originally purchased, but they weren't of a particularly great quality. So I actually remade all of those things myself. I bought the iMac G4, and I took the base off, and I made my own clock. The reason being is that the original one, it just kept stopping, and even though I kept changing the battery, it stopped before the battery actually ran out. And in addition to that, it was fixed to the base in a way that you just couldn't get it off cleanly without kind of damaging stuff. So I went out and remade that. The coffee table actually had loads and loads of scratches on it, and other bits and pieces, so I went out and bought a new bit of glass and some new mountings for that. And my iMac mirror, the mirror kept falling out of and eventually smashed, and when it did, it actually cracked the whole of the front of the case. So I went out and remade that as well. So that is the reason why in the setup video, because a lot of people have said, oh, you said you made it, but we saw you unbox it. Well, yeah, okay, I didn't necessarily invent it, but I did go out and remake it. That's why I kind of went through how to do it yourself, if you wanted to, was because I did. And yeah, you know, these products that people make sometimes aren't of the quality that I want, and for example, when you've got a glass table, you really don't want it to be all scratched. And the thing is that where I use that glass table for sometimes in my videos and I put a phone on it or something like that, especially with since I went to 4K, when it's got all scratches on it, you really can't use it because they show up so much in 4K video. And where the phone is so flat to the table, the point of focus is actually very much the same, so it does show up all those scratches. So that's why I had to go out and do that as well. And in addition to that, the actual mountings that I had on it were really quite awful. They kept falling off and they weren't stuck down properly, etc, etc. And in addition to that, one of the PowerMac G5s was scratched to pieces, so I got a new PowerMac G5 case as well. So actually I did pretty much make all of those things and start again. But yeah, admittedly the idea wasn't mine, but I don't think I said the idea was mine. I just said I made them. Anyway, that covers off that point. It is lunchtime. I am on my way out. I've just got to pop out and see if I can buy a lens. I'm looking for the Canon 18-35. I've got the 17-40, and the 18-35 is I suppose a slight step up from that, because instead of an f4, it's an f2.8, I think. And I want it, but I don't really want to pay the brand new money for it because I've already got the 17-40 and I don't know what one I'm going to keep, etc. So I'm going to look at a second-hand one quickly just down the road to see if I can purchase it a little bit cheaper than the asking price. The last time I went and did this, I actually vlogged it, and the guy was a complete nightmare. He didn't really know what he had, and he was advertising something completely different. So hopefully this time will turn out a little bit better. We've also got the painters and decorators in at the moment, because every 6 months to a year I have the white bits on the house repainted, not outside but inside, because obviously white gets dirty very quickly and I like it to be like pristine. So they're in at the moment doing that as well. Jade's dad came over this morning as well. I haven't seen him for a while, so it's really nice to see Max. And then Jade's out today as well, going blue wall shopping with her brother, and I will be back this afternoon carrying on with some work. Well, yet again, that was a bit of a waste of time. The guy did have the lens, but he tried basically selling me a lens that he said had no marks on it whatsoever. And yet on the lens, if you got it under the right light, you could see that there was quite a few kind of little scratches, like actual scratches. And then if you felt them with your nail, you could feel that they were, you know, they weren't just little marks, they were embedded in the glass, because you could feel like a ridge. And he was like, oh, that's nothing, blah, blah, blah. And although you can't see them on pictures or video yet, obviously as dirt kind of goes in those little cracks and whatnot, not cracks, but scratches, they do begin to show up, especially on 4K video and full-blown photographs as well, at the full megapixel of the camera. And I was just like, look, you know, I don't want to buy it because of that. And he was like, well, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, well, that's my choice. So it was a bit of a strange one. But yeah, you know, I'd rather pay a little bit extra and get one that's like immaculate. You know, plenty of people really, really look after their lenses and their photography equipment like I do. So, you know, and I'm in no rush whatsoever. I'm not in a position where I need to buy the lens. So I'm just going to wait around and see, you know, if one comes up. I'm literally not desperate to get this lens or anything, so I will just wait, and eventually one will come up and it'll be the right price and the right quality, and then I'll buy it. And it's nice being in that position, because quite often you're in a position where you need something and the person on the other end knows that you need it, and so you kind of have to buy certain things at a certain price that maybe you don't want to, or at a certain quality that you don't want to. But luckily I'm in that position, very much like I was with my car, where I can really just take my time, pick exactly what I want, and away you go. And I know I've just spoke for 2 minutes about buying an epoxy camera lens, but what can you say, I'm a geek. So guys, do you remember a little while ago I did a video on some new accessories that I got, and one of them was this, and this is a little OTG USB pen or key or whatever you want to call it from Kingston. And I said what I was going to use it for was transferring data from like Android phones, for example, that I do reviews on, over onto the computer, rather than having to install that crappy sync software and plug it in and all that nonsense. So I'm going to show you now exactly how I'm going to do that. So you can see here we've got the micro USB on the bottom, and then we've got full size USB there, and this thing is absolutely tiny, as you can see, the sort of size of your thumb now. It's very, very small, hence the name thumb drive, I guess. But anyway, this here is the Desire 601. that Clove Technology kindly lent me, and one thing that I've got to send it back tomorrow, and one thing I realised I completely forgot before sending it off was that I didn't take any footage with the camera for video and photo. So I've got some photo and video on this camera and I want to get it onto my Mac, so I'm going to see if we can get this to work. This is the first time I've used it, by the way. So we're going to plug that in, see if it detects it, and it has. Look, phone is in USB host mode. And now I've got, this is the app that I personally use, not the file manager, Astro File Manager. And if we go into that, you can see we've got here the media that I've taken pictures and video of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a copy of that, so you can hold it down and then go copy, and then I'm going to go back up here to USB, Android, data, and then I'm just going to drop it in here, paste. And there you go, that is now copying all of that stuff from the phone onto this little OTG USB thing. And in fact, what I would also like to do is, if I go to where is it in here, gallery, I think that Zoe probably, or the Zoe part of it, would have made a little video for me, which I actually think is always pretty good. And I'm going to put this in the review because I think it comes out quite well. So this is some videos and photos that I've taken, and it's added a soundtrack to it and made a nice little edit. So there, anyway, yeah, I think that's quite cool. So what I would like to do is get this video here onto this thing. Now I'm not quite sure how I can do that, but if we go save, sorry guys, someone just rung me right in the middle of it. So I'm going to save that there. This is going to save off that video. We'll wait for this to export. And in fact, while this is exporting, just to let you know, this is going to be the last segment of today. So I will be back with you guys tomorrow. Thanks a huge amount again for all of the support on my setup tour video. Again, I'd really appreciate it if you could go over there and whack that like button and just show the power of the vlog viewers through the like button, because I'm already up to nearly 1,000 likes and it's only a few hours old. So you guys could really rock my world and get that up to quite a few more. Although I know a lot of you already watch that channel, so you probably would have already hit like, but it would still be cool if you would go ahead and do that. So this is exporting anyway. Wait for that to finish. There we go. And then we should be able to go back to Astro in here, go up a couple of folders in storage. Where would it be? Let's think, where would that actually be? Probably, I think maybe I've gone too far here. Cache, SD card maybe, DCIM, 100 media. What would it, I don't know where it puts the bloody folder, the file. SD card, where would it be? Movies? No. Download? No. DCIM? No. It's definitely not in there, is it? So I wonder where it puts that kind of little video that it puts together. Video highlights. Oh, there it is there. So then we can go copy, go up again, somehow find the USB drive. There it is. And again, Android data. And then we can just paste it in there. And that is it. Done. So anyway guys, that is it. I'll show you, I've showed you the little OTG USB key, and then all I've got to do now is plug that into my computer, bang, copy them files off, and we are done. So have yourselves a great one guys. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.